Step on a snake! On a snake! But he missed it.
Okay, everybody. So this week in debate is literally the most important week of the semester.
And the most fun.
It is, yeah. So we are going to be learning the basics of the 4 types of speech and debates you can do at a tournament. So we're going to spend 1 day on each, and at the end, you will know enough that you could just mostly get started getting ready for the tournament. So today we'll learn the basics of oratory. Tomorrow is what's called extemporaneous. Thursday is going to be Lincoln Douglas, and Friday is policy. So what this means for you, first of all, this week can be just maybe a tiny bit tough because it is me teaching you while you listen, but I am going to make it worth your while like crazy. First period was awesome. Every single person got 2 pieces of candy. I am willing to give up to 4, but I'm not going to give it for no reason. Like, what it literally means is you are actively paying attention and you are having self-control. Like, those are the kinds of things. The more you do that, the more candy I give you, okay? Also though, just from a logical standpoint, the more you pay attention this week, the easier time you will have getting ready for the tournament, and the easier time you'll have at the actual tournament, okay? So that being said, oratory is near and dear to my heart. I super love oratory. You can probably already tell it's pretty popular because McKenna, who did debate last year, plus our official Debate 2 kids, they all do oratory. And they are in debate again doing oratory because they love it so much. Now, keep in mind, so I'm going to go over the basics today. If this doesn't feel like it's for you at the end of the class, if you're like, I don't think I want to do that, it's okay. You're going to have 3 other options also. But I'm going to show you what we would actually show to judges. This is called judge training. It does a really good job giving you fast basics, okay? It's going to go pretty quick though. We'll kind of break it down afterwards, but we're going to watch this as like a really quick introduction to oratory, okay? Okay, you're doing great so far. I like it. Keep it up. So you're trying to really force yourself to focus over and over and over.
Original oratory, or OO, is a 10-minute long oration, written and performed by the student. The objective of an OO is to inform and persuade an audience on a topic of significance. Because the speech is persuasive in nature, it's helpful to review Aristotle's 3 modes of persuasion: ethos, pathos, and logos. Ethos, or ethical appeal, establishes credibility through convincing the audience on the character of the author. This is done through delivery and use of evidence in speech. Pathos appeals to the emotions of the audience. Logos is persuasion through the use of reason or logic. In addition to the
So again, I know they're going pretty quick. This is just an introduction. We're going to break it down some more in a second.
modes of persuasion, there are 3 key areas to consider when evaluating an original oratory: importance, relatability, and originality. It's important to note this is a speaking contest. Writing should be evaluated on how it contributes to the speaker's ability to persuade the audience. Therefore, not all OOs will follow the same structure, but the content of the speech should be easy to follow. First, importance. The speaker's topic should be significant to the human condition. This appears in the beginning of the speech through a well-established thesis. Throughout the oration, the speaker should use ethos to offer examples supporting the significance of the topic.
Remember, you're trying to force
The
yourself to
delivery of
focus.
speech can also indicate importance. Pathos is created through a personable, invested delivery that speaks to the audience emotionally. Ask yourself, do the supporting examples establish the critical need to evaluate the topic now? Does the speaker's delivery indicate a passion for the importance of the topic? Relatability. Relatability is how the speaker connects the audience topic. A speaker should use inclusive rhetoric, giving the audience a sensation that they are affected by the topic. Logos, or logical evidence, should be given throughout the speech, supporting this sentiment. As you evaluate an OO, ask yourself, does the speaker show how I am directly impacted by this issue? Do I feel motivated to care about this topic? Originality.
Okay, almost there. If you can keep fully concentrating by the end of this video, you have earned your first official piece of candy, okay?
When evaluating originality, it's important to note that there are few truly original topics. Instead, consider how inventively the speaker addresses the topic. Ask yourself, is the rhetoric unique? Are the examples new and interesting? Gestures and delivery should be employed to further these three objectives. Through effective intonation and physical imagery, the speaker should illustrate the importance, relatability, and originality of the topic. The speaker should employ ethos or credibility in their speech through a confident demeanor. Note how the speaker can refine upon his or her delivery, indicating how they may improve eye contact, presence, and emotion. Pitch, tone, pacing, and volume should be employed to express the pathos, ethos, and logos of the argument. The speaker who does this best should receive your one.
Okay, so that was an introduction. It went pretty quick. We're gonna break it down, but hopefully in a more entertaining way than that, because I know her voice was a little monotone. So automatically, everybody gets one piece of candy. Let's see if we can make it to 4. Okay. The purple paper is gonna be worth 10 points. I will literally look at you and be like, write this down. If you write it down, you'll get the points. One kid in first period was like not awake and he didn't keep finishing it. So just know this is new and will go on Skype, okay? Basically, I'm not trying to be evil and make you take notes. I'm trying to force you to pay attention to the stuff that's most important. So it's not very much at all, okay? Okay, at its very, very basics. How many of you have seen a TED Talk?
Me.
Right, like everybody. Basically, that's what an oratory is. It's you giving a speech. So remember how debate really shouldn't be called debate. It should actually be called speech and debate. Oratory is a speech event, which means, game training reader, it means that you are in front of a judge performing on your own. You do not have an opponent that you're arguing back and forth with. What the judge does is, one judge will basically see anywhere from like 4 to 6 performers. And let's pretend, right, like I was a judge and I saw these 3. After they all performed, I would think, okay, like who did the very best performance, speech, argument, all that stuff. And if I really thought it was Jason, I'd give him first place ranking, second, third, whatever, right? So you get ranked against other competitors is how that judging works. I also really like kind of thinking about it of like, we're learning how to give mic drop speeches, right? Like these moments of amazing, awesome, inspiring moments that at the end, the judge is like, whoa, that's the end goal. Okay, Emerson, next. So this is your first blank. So it says blank minute speech. So it's 6 to 8, okay? But that's at its very, go ahead and fill it in, 6 to 8. That's at its very, very best. At your first tournament, if you've never done oratory before, like what if I can only talk for 4 minutes before I pass out and die? It's okay. We basically want you to talk as high quality as you can for as long as you can. The more time you fill in that's actually high quality, the better you do. Okay, it's just like SPAR, filling in your time, that's what we're looking for. So 6 to 8 minutes is the official rule for how long oratory should be in middle school. In high school, it's 10. Middle school, it's 6 to 8. Okay, next. So your next blank is not exactly this, so hold on. But the topic selection is insanely important. Most kids, like how long have you guys spent picking your topic so far?
My longest is 11 days.
Yep. It can take anywhere from like, I already have a topic when you've been talking right now, up to really long time, yeah.
Mine was the whole summer.
Yeah, right, so kids who really care about oratory spend a long time picking a topic because it has to be something that is actually like deep down, I know this is corny, but like deep down in your soul important to you. Like it should be the kind of thing where you would get in a fight, not really, but like hypothetically you would fight someone over it because it matters to you so much. What was that? Yeah. Okay. Also, a way of thinking about it is like, why would I say something that doesn't matter? Like, why would I spend an entire summer or 11 class periods creating something that doesn't matter?
I was once in a round with someone who did their whole speech on Fiji water. It was the most boring speech I've ever listened
Right, because
to.
to sit there and listen to someone say that for like 6 to 8
And
minutes.
she just kept repeating it. Like she had
Exactly,
no speech. I was
it's
like,
not truly important enough. So your next blanks, there's 4 of them. Think outside the box. Those are the next blanks. You are lucky, right, that you have judges that are going to be way more experienced. Like when we first had tournaments in Canyon School District 7 years ago, our judges were not good. They are so good now. Say it. Oh, think outside the box. Yeah. So nowadays we have judges who have been judging for a long time. But what could happen is you go to perform in front of a judge who, in their like career of judging, they've seen 30 other oratory speeches. So when you pick a topic, you're trying to pick something that is unique, interesting, meaningful, persuasive, and really inspiring. Like you are trying to shock them and tell them something they haven't actually heard before. Yeah?
30 a lot.
Say again.
30 a lot.
Yes, that would be a lot. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Do you have to memorize or do you have
We're gonna get there. Good question. Okay, let's go on to the next one. So, I'm just gonna tell you right now, there's nothing to write down on this slide. I used to be able to say that Albion was undefeated at the state tournament. Basically, we had 3 years in a row where an Albion debater won oratory first place out of all the middle school kids in Utah. And then last year, those of you who knew Alex Carlisle, he tried so insanely hard, and he got close, but the streak did get broken last year. JT also got, what was it, like 9th at the state tournament?
I think it was 10.
But which is a huge deal. That's hundreds of kids that JT. And McKenna, you got 2nd. Our championship tournament, the one where it's like the final test, the team trophy, McKenna got 2nd place as a 6th grader, which was so cool. She is kind of a legend. So here's real topics I've had kids actually win with before. Just 1 second. Overcoming fears. Bouncing back from bad choices. This was a kid like 4 years ago. His name was Ju Song. He was from South Korea. And he himself, as an 8th grader, had actually done a couple of not smart things. And he really deeply thought about it. It was like, you know what? Here's how I'm going to keep going. Here's how I'm going to come back from disappointment. It was awesome. A girl, her name was Chitrali Samant. She was like 3 years ago. She won the state tournament. Jusong won. She won with talking about how sometimes the media is not doing true news reporting. They're more biased. And then this is another really good one. I had someone win of stop taking life so seriously. But, right, that's kind of a no dumb thing, no duh thing to say. So they did it in a really unique way. Okay, Talbot first.
How come she's not in grade 2? She got 2nd last year.
She technically is. The reason why she did all of that without even being in the class.
How did she do?
So she just did a bunch of work out on her own at home. Yeah. So she's never officially been in the class before, so she kind of is a debate too, but not at the same time. Anyways, yeah.
What did he do that was so bad?
Say again.
What did he do that was so bad?
I don't want to tell because it's personal for him, but it's just middle school stuff of I made a temporary bad choice. Yeah.
When I got 2nd, my topic was overcoming fears.
Overcoming fears also, right? This is a cool one because there's so many unique things you could say. Okay, next. So this is your next blank. When it comes down to it, you should be persuasive. You should not just be up there let me tell you the history of Fortnite. We want you to try and change someone's mind. So the judge, by the end of it, should be like, oh yeah, that kid is actually right. That kid really had something to say, and now I feel like I want to be a different person just because of what they said. Yeah?
I just have a quick question.
Sure.
While I'm doing this, can I work on oratory topics?
Yes, you totally can. Okay, I'm ready for the next one. So persuade. Okay, this is your next blanks. So pre-written and, that's the blank, memorized. So keep in mind, I'm just presenting this information to you. By the end of this week, you will have 4 different options. You get to choose the one where you're like, yes, that is for me. Some kids love this, some kids don't, and that's why you have 4 different options. 1 second, JT. I'm just gonna straight up tell you, if you're super nervous for the tournament, oratory is a really good one because you're doing all the work beforehand. You're writing the speech, you're memorizing it before you even get there, and when you get there, it's just standing up and performing, which, you know, is still a little nerve-wracking, but at least it's not, I presented arguments and now I'm gonna get attacked on them, and I don't know how my opponent is gonna attack me. So that is a little bit different. Okay, JT.
And you don't even have to have it totally memorized.
Yeah,
for the first time.
basically, the more memorized you have it, the better you do. There's some kids who don't memorize it at all and won't win, and there's some kids who spend a long time getting it memorized and do better. Yeah.
Like I had my paper up there, my first tournament.
Yeah.
I think and my second.
Yeah.
And I got 10th.
Yeah.
And was 1 place away from winning a trophy.
Exactly. Good.
Because I read from my speech.
Okay,
Emerson,
so
please.
can I share like a horror story that happened?
Yes.
Okay, so my first tournament, my first round, I walked in and I was like, okay, I'm partly memorized, I got this. So I brought out my paper. I missed 2 full paragraphs and got like 4 minutes when I was supposed to do like 7.
Which was a learning experience, right? Emerson was like, okay, I should have spent more time memorizing. Now I know better. Exactly. McKenna.
I once was in a round with one girl who like came in. She had like her speech on a computer, and I went first, and then she came up holding her computer and just read it off
which is
with no
so
expression,
boring,
no
right? Like, oratory is meant to be a performance. So if you just read it on paper, it's not very exciting. Great story. Okay, I just want to acknowledge you're doing so awesome. If you keep this up for 2 more minutes, we have now earned our 2nd official piece of candy. So keep going. Okay, next. So this is your next blank, 10%. You don't have to write an entire 10% of your speech. You can go look up funny quotes and jokes and cool anecdotes, and you can basically copy and paste, and 10% of your speech can be quoted material. So I had a kid last year who I can't actually remember his topic, but I remember he was using The Office to help him talk about his topic. So he spent time researching Office quotes, and he would copy and paste those into his speech. So you can basically have up to 100 words can be stuff that you researched and used. Yeah.
Do you have to like quote or like say who it's by?
Yeah, right? Because then we know we can trust you and that it's something that you had actually spent time researching. But yes, you don't have to do like the official English way of, you know, doing the not bibliography, help me guys. Citation. Okay, yeah.
So, what was his topic of the office?
I actually can't remember. But once we like actually do tournament prep, I can sit down and look it up because I still have a copy of his speech. It was Jackson Evers. Okay, next.
Jackson Evers?
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Unfortunately, there are no
Procrastination.
props. Oh, was it procrastination?
Yeah.
And use The Office. Thank you, JD.
This was Jackson.
This is technically a rule, but we always figure out a way to break it because we are always trying to push the boundaries. Basically, you can't pull like your hamster out of your pocket and be like, well, according to my hamster, you're right. Like, you can't use props. But I had a girl 1 year who she gave a really kind of unique speech about teamwork. Sometimes the teamwork speeches aren't very good, but hers was. And she wore a really, really nice dress, but over the top of it wore her soccer jacket. And so she tied it in as part of her speech, but it didn't count technically as a prop because she was wearing it. I think I mentioned, right, I had a girl who did the speech about like Disney princesses or Band for little girls basically, and wore a really tiny tiara as part of her outfit. So that is the way we break this rule. Next. Okay, this is the toughest part about oratory, and it's really not even that hard. If you can wrap your brain around this, you can do oratory, no problem. So how many of you, we're gonna think about this in terms of like birthday parties. How many of you have been to a birthday party that had a theme? Like Spider-Man, or like princesses? Yeah, right? So when it comes down to it, it's still a birthday party, right? But, like there's a Spider-Man cake, and there's Spider-Man balloons, and like Spider-Man like party favors. And they're using the theme to make the party more fun. That's what we do in oratory. We have our topic, but we connect it to a weird theme to make it more fun. So just like Jackson last year, his speech was about procrastination, and he had cool, interesting things to say, but he wanted to make it more fun, so he used quotes from The Office. Any of my other oratory kids want to tell me about themes you've done? JT.
I'm doing the Princess Bride.
Okay, and tell us, so that's his
Watched that
theme.
show yesterday.
So, nice.
The movie.
What is your topic?
It's like pollution.
Okay,
So,
yeah, so we're talking, is it mostly air pollution, is that right?
yeah, air pollution.
Air pollution, which can be a little bit of a heavy topic, so he's trying to make it more fun with his theme of the Princess Bride. So he's
How do you
using
do that?
quotes. Yeah, JT, do you want to tell a little bit more how you're connecting your theme to your topic?
So like, can I just read one of my paragraphs?
Sure, yeah.
So it's like, in the very beginning of the movie, the grandpa said to the boy, I'm gonna read it to you for your relaxation. And then he asked, does it have any sports in it? And then the grandpa says, fencing, fighting, torture, poison, true love, hate, revenge, giants, hunters, bad men, just goes on and on. So then I say, this is from The Princess Bride, a movie where a man overcomes all odds to get the girl. Our modern version of this movie, on the other hand, would be, he held up the iPhone and said, I'm gonna have Siri read it to you for your relaxation. Then does it have anything bad in it? And then he says, pollution, melting ice caps, rising oceans, deforestation, BYU fans, toxic chemicals in the air, and plastic waste.
Notice how he got a laugh out of you. Like, that's exactly why we have a theme, is to take something serious and make it fun. So I will just straight up tell you, like, Emerson, how many times last year did you ask for help with the theme?
Every single time.
And every single time I would tell Emerson, I got you, just give me a day so I can sit down and think about it. So it's kind of tough coming up with a really actually funny theme. So I will always help you, but we'll also help each other. Okay, that's it. That was the toughest part of oratory. If you get that, you can do this, no problem. You also just earned your second official piece of candy. Let's go for 3. You're doing really awesome. Okay, next. So I cannot stress this enough. Someone who is funny is great, but someone funny stops being funny after 8 minutes, right? Like 8 minutes of ha-ha funny actually stops being funny. So we always want a mixture of funny and serious. Let me do your next blank. Sometimes I want to be thinking, sometimes I want to be laughing, sometimes I want goosebumps, sometimes I want to be crying, right? Like I always want to, my performer, I want them to keep me on my toes. I never want to be bored. I always want to be thinking to myself, like, what crazy thing is this kid gonna do next? Because then I'm interested. They're always making me think and feel, and they're switching it up so that it's not the same thing over and over and over and over. So mix of funny and serious.
Well,
Yeah.
that's kind of like completely different. Like when you're doing like a work speech or like the mayor or whatever.
Yeah.
So like uses land of high density or whatever.
Right.
Why kill him with boredom?
So this
you,
is
like,
different.
have to, like, make
This is different, and I'm telling you, almost all my kids who actually get a medal, they do this, okay? Let's go to the next one. Thank you, Emerson.
I can't press it. There we go.
Okay, so I know that some kids hear the word research and they're like, hey, research. Well, honestly, research into oratory is a very different thing, right? Like for Jackson, it was looking up office quotes that he could tie in with his speech. Some kids, it's looking up anecdotes or personal stories. Some kids, it's trying to find actual statistics. But research and oratory is all about, like, can I trust you? I want to, like, be listening to your speech and be like, liar, liar, pants on fire, right? Like, I want to be able to trust what you have to say. So really good oratory performers back it up with research. Okay, that's your next blank. Okay, next. So there's a really specific reason for this. So hold on, let me explain, but go ahead and fill in your blanks. So non-offensive, non-controversial topic. Here's why. We are not afraid of tough topics in debate. I've had kids talk about suicide, drug addiction, all kinds of really intense topics. But you never know who your judge is going to be, right? If I get up and my oratory is all about the most amazing team ever, which is of course the University of Utah, but my judge is a die-hard BYU fan, do you really think I'm going to be able to overcome their bias?
Well, maybe.
No. So, I mean, maybe, best case scenario,
really good.
but it's going to be way harder to win. So it is a strategy. Debate is a game. The strategy is pick a really cool, unique topic, but that most judges could actually go for. So non-controversial, non-offensive. I am just going to straight up be honest with you. I've never had someone get to the very top of the rankings with a really controversial or really offensive topic. Just going to be honest. You can still do it. I'm not going to say no. but it's much more difficult. Okay, next. So there's nothing to write down here, but just really quick, I've been doing this for a long time. So there's some things that I can tell you right now to just make picking your topic that much easier. The first one, this was a real thing I actually heard at a tournament. I was walking in the hallway in between rounds, and I heard one judge ask another judge, like, hey, how'd it go? And the other judge said, well, it wasn't bullying or animal abuse, so we're good. So to make it clear, animal abuse and bullying are incredibly important topics. They're ones that people picked because they, in their soul, believe it, right? It's something that matters. But those are the two most common topics. And so when a judge has heard his like fourth or fifth, right, speech about one of those things, the judge is going to be so bored. Not because it wasn't important, it's always about the strategy of, am I unique and different, okay? These are the two ways that I usually will tell people how to get a topic. I say, okay, sit down, make a T-chart. One side is things that you, in your soul, are ridiculously important to you. And the other side is things that drive you absolutely crazy. Usually, that's a really great way of getting a topic, right? Because for maybe it's like, well, it's really, really actually important to me that people know how to persevere. Or maybe one thing that really, truly actually bothers me is kids who are really mean when they think no one's looking. Like, both of those could be an oratory topic, okay? The next one, super important. I did not make this a blank. I want you to write this on the side. So write, broaden it up. Go ahead and write that on the side right now. Broaden it up. So I think this actually happened to JT last year. And sorry for like just throwing you on the spot, but JT kept coming up with these great ideas, but that were way too specific. He would have had a really hard time filling in like 8 minutes. And so I think I had like maybe the conversation like twice of like, JT, how can we make that bigger, right? Yeah. Instead of something super, super focused, let's talk about it in general so it's really easy for me to fill 8 minutes. So it kind of goes back to Emerson's example, like, what on earth would I say about Fiji water for 8 minutes? That's way too specific, and it doesn't really matter at the same time, right? So broad is good. Eddie.
Is LGBTQ rights?
Absolutely, you can. We're not afraid of talking about tough subjects like that. But I've never had someone give a successful one because usually people are automatically split on that one.
Yeah.
Yes or no, which is unfortunate, but yes, okay? Okay, this next one is a little trick. I think Emerson's doing it right now. There is literally a website, oratorygenerator.com. You can sit and just click and it gives you really great topic ideas. Lots of kids find theirs that way.
A lot of them are really weird as well. I had one that said Twilight. Like the movie.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Some
we
of them
actually
are
have
really good.
Yeah, some of them are actually really good.
So I actually have
Say again.
I have like
Hold on, y'all.
like a story time almost, but like more like a tip.
Sure.
You like what I find is going with something that you can persuade on, like inform, is better than something that like most people already know and like they already have an opinion on.
Yes.
Like bringing up like LGBTQ rights, a lot of people already have their opinions on that.
Yeah.
But if you bring up like I don't know, like something that like most people haven't heard, like,
Right,
you know,
or they might not already have a solid opinion on
yeah,
it.
like I right now am like looking into like maternity leave and paternity leave in
Yeah.
Switzerland and Sweden and the UK.
And that would be
so
new,
much
right? Again, this goes back to the tell me something new. If it's something I've heard over and over and over and over, it's whatever. Yeah, good. Okay. So, where do you start? Honestly, I basically have a super secret that's not secret, like speech outline, that I will just hand to you and it shows you exactly how to make a speech. I also will tell you, this is our next blank. So that was the next blank, speech outline. Go ahead and write that down. It's towards the bottom, speech outline. The next thing that I have learned from experience is basically 20 class periods is the magic number. It's enough time to pick a topic, quickly write a speech, and hopefully get it as memorized as you can. The kids who spend too long writing the speech run out of time to memorize it and then they're stressed. But if you truly listen to me and you really force yourself, you can get it done in 20 class periods, which is how much time you will have
It seems like
before
a long
our
time.
first tournament. Say again.
It seems like a long time, but it goes by so
It goes
fast.
by way fast. Thank you for saying that. It's so much more helpful when a student says that. True. And so we'll have a few things here and there where I'll take up some of your time, but it's going to be about 20. Yeah. And I cannot stress this enough. Emerson, can I just share weren't you one of the ones that out in the first tournament you were crying because it was?
Oh yeah, I was bawling.
I'm
It was
just
the
gonna tell
worst
you,
thing
if
ever.
you don't leave yourself time to memorize, you will break down in tears. Like Emerson was alone. There was like 7 other people.
Yeah, it
But-
was like a circle of crying.
It
It
is
was hilarious.
really, really stressful if you didn't actually get it memorized. So more than anything, I'm gonna stress that right now. Memorize your speech or the tournament is not fun. Okay, last one. It says watch good examples on YouTube is the blank. That's something that you could legitimately use class time to do because watching a really great example can help you learn. So that leads us to our next part of today, which is my favorite. Go ahead, Anderson, for the next one. So Josh Gad, we're gonna hold on to it for a second. Josh Gad, he is a pretty famous actor. He is the voice of Olaf. He also played LeFou in the live-action Beauty and the Beast. And Josh Gad was a kid just like you. Didn't know anything about debate, took a debate class, did really well at Oratory, and went on to win his state tournament, which means he beat thousands of kids to win state, and then went to the national tournament as a high schooler, which is really tough, and won the national tournament
Wait, so he was the best
2
debater in high school?
years in a row, which is like unheard of. So I'm just gonna tell you right now, this is the very best, we're gonna watch this example. It's the very best example I could possibly show you. I am gonna tell you, I had to get special permission from the district to show it to you. I'm not showing it to you to offend you. Literally, it is absolutely just the best example. So, just going into it, most kids actually don't even really, like some of the more, like, mature jokes really just go over most kids' heads, and that's totally fine. I will mute the 2 swear words. Other than that, we're watching this because he was the master of funny and serious and all of these things I just spent time telling you. So we're gonna solidify what we just learned by watching the example, okay? If you can make it through the whole thing, y'all get 4 pieces because you just earned your 3rd. But I know that it's been a long time of sitting and listening, so if you can make it through the last 20 minutes, which is how long this will take, and what I want to see is you are like actually, like I can tell, you're actually paying attention, like that, right? And you're having self-control to like not poke your computer and not talk and actually stay awake. Okay? Sure, yeah, okay. So, thank you, Emerson. Move on back. His is hilarious. People love this one. His speech, he won this in 1999, so it is kind of old, but it's hilarious. It really, thank you, Emerson. It really is. So sit back and relax and enjoy, but watch a master at work. Okay.
Our 3rd contestant, number 210, the title of the speech, Hoo-ah!
Okay, now, just to make it very clear, you will never perform on a stage like this, unless like you go to the national tournament, which I have had kids do. Remember, at a tournament, it's you in front of a judge with like your 5 other competitors. I also just want to make sure it's clear, they have it right here as OO. Oratory is technically original oratory, but we love our acronyms, so sometimes we call this one OO, or you'll hear Josh Gad say OO, and that's why, it's original oratory. Okay. I will pause a couple of times, because my job is to teach you stuff, so I will be pausing a few times here and there. Fair warning.
When thou seest my mockery, thou shalt not be too pleased with me. Thou should sit back and relax and laugh at everything you see. For mine oh is a no-no by most standards in debate. But do not fear my friends and fools, for I am one who lives unfazed.
Okay, how many of you are like, what? Like, that's mostly what people's reaction is. Like, why is he singing? This is weird. But that is important. Remember, we start with a hook. What do we call it in debate? Instead of hook, it's A,
Rebuttal.
G. There we go. Attention, getting, or grabbing device. Good memory though, John. That's not quite, but I like that you remember that word. So AGD, attention grabbing or getting device. Did he mostly grab your attention? Like even if it was just because it was weird? Yeah, right? We're like, what is he gonna do next? Like if he just started by singing, like what could this kid possibly do after? And that's a good AGD. When it kind of makes you step back and think, okay.
From the moment of my birth, I've been taking chances. The
Is
doctor
he
looked
also
at me, pulled out a
Chuck in
very
the
sharp
Angry Birds
object,
movie?
attempting to cut off a piece of my childhood. So I peed on him. When I was 16, a police officer stopped me for speeding. When he looked at me and said, "Son, you know that you were going 75 and a 40? I said, "Really, officer? I could have sworn I was going at least 90. Yeah, he gave me the ticket. Last fall, I asked this girl out, despite the fact that everyone told me not to. Let me tell you something. She rejected me. Actually, she didn't flat out reject me. She just said, "I don't know." Yeah, so when people came up to me and they said, "Hey, Josh, you going out with Brooke?" I said, "Oh, yeah, but she doesn't know."
Trick question. Has he actually told us his topic yet?
No.
No, and he's doing that on purpose. He's trying to pique our interest. So it's been 1 minute and 50 seconds, and we still don't actually know his topic, and that's okay. He's really taking his time to grab our attention.
And that's
Taking chance after chance.
Here
This
it
has been the
is.
story of my life. Risk after risk, failure after failure, but eventually, success
That
after
is his
success.
topic. Risks,
And if there's one
chances.
thing that I've learned, it's that despite the setbacks, the risks are all worth the effort. As Al Pacino so eloquently states in the movie Scent of a Woman, hooah!
So you're gonna hear him do that a couple times. It's a weird movie quote. He ties it in, beginning, a couple times in the middle, at the end of his speech, and that became his theme. It's also the title of his speech, so it's a movie quote. Hoo-ah, yeah.
Wait, do they still like when they do debate in like national or state or whatever? Do they always have like multiple mics?
Yeah, and that's a really strategic thing that happens. Basically, if I move to the side as I'm walking, I'm showing you my transition, right? Like I'm not just saying next, I'm literally showing it to you. So good catch, Gabe, yeah. That's a subtle thing, but yeah.
That's it. That's all he says.
Hoo-ah.
Because you see, Pacino's character, that of a middle-aged blind man, achieves his own sense of happiness and fulfillment through the countless risks that he takes, like driving an automobile. He figures, hoo-ah, what the hell?
Sorry, I totally missed the
It's that
mute.
rebellious
That was
spirit
totally my bad.
that
I
is the
super
very
apologize.
essence of risk-taking. Recognizing that the greatest adversity can often yield the greatest payoff. But even without knowing the final outcome, we must strive to take the chance, or we will never know what might have been if only ... And to achieve success in filling in that blank, we must first understand the nature of risk-taking. Second, recognize the difference between positive and negative risks. And most importantly, have the courage to then seize the opportunities.
Okay, a good speaker tells us what they're gonna say before they actually say it. So when you just saw him go first, second, finally, he just told us his whole speech in a really tiny summary before he even says any of it. So good speakers do that because a good judge knows to listen for the summary. Nate, leave it alone. If you break it, it's $60, man. Okay, here we go.
Author Miles Hodges, in his book Living by Faith, states that we are currently
Here's
faced with a
research.
dualistic society that on the one hand copies out of fear of the unknown, and on the other hand takes risks simply for the sake of taking risks, causing meaningless and often deleterious outcomes. Okay, for example.
Okay, so he knows that that was a tiny bit boring. Like the research didn't sound super exciting, so now he's gonna mix it up. Funny and serious, funny and serious. Here comes the funny part after he did something slightly boring.
To the Phoenix Zoo, rubbing deer's blood all over your head, jumping into the lion's pit, kicking the lion's dog, and then saying to yourself, "Yeah, I'm gonna take whatever happens like a man now." Well, sure, it's innovative, but obviously not a worthwhile risk. No. It is reconciling the inane with more sane approaches to risk-taking. that will enable us to embrace the risk and ultimately enjoy the payoff. Dr. Frances McDavern, author of Vicarious
Okay, so
Living,
here's some more
raises,
research.
a rather interesting point in her book concerning risk-taking. She found that people, get this, often don't take the ultimate risk because they are afraid of the final outcome. Thank you for that wonderful insight, Dr. McDowell. Here's the title for your next book, Stating the Obvious, How I Make My Living.
Right? Isn't that like a oh snap? And so Josh Gad is the king of these little moments of constantly doing something new to constantly grab our attention over and over and over. Like making fun of his research. Like no one does that. But because he did it, he thought outside the box. Now we're like, okay, now what is he gonna do next? Like I need to see what's next. Yeah.
Do you know how old he was?
He was 18. Well, no, yeah, his first one was in 1998, so he was 18. He was a senior in high school.
It is probably apparent to everyone in this auditorium that risks are indeed sometimes scary to take. Oh, but as McDavern so eloquently states, one cannot know the final outcome until one has taken the risk. Profound, isn't it? Folks, this lady has a PhD. That hurts. Anyway, I've often been confronted with such risky ventures where the final outcomes were anything but a sure bet. At the beginning of this school year, my friend and I were trying to decide in a duo for competition on the national circuit. We wanted something that would be both funny and original. We ended up doing the Monica Lewinsky Win the Trip tapes.
It's a really old reference. It's
When I first
1999.
told my friend about the idea, his initial reaction was reminiscent of a dog being neutered by a beautiful female nurse. He was scared and bewildered, but at the same time strangely attracted to the idea.
Josh Gad was the best example, I'm telling you.
Suffice it to say, my friend and I took the risk, and ultimately reaped numerous benefits through our risky endeavor, proving once again that hoo-ah is the
There's
only
his
way to go.
theme. And again, right, Josh Gad has lots of little anecdotes, stories that actually happened to him, and he uses those to help prove his point and to show why it's important to him. Now, this next part is why he won first place. He does something that was so shocking that no one had ever tried anything this crazy before him, okay? Keep in mind, he had beat thousands of competitors and is at the final round at the national tournament, and he does this.
You know, before I go on, I need to sit down for a second. Oh,
Listen to the audience.
my back is killing me.
Like, they don't know what to think of this.
This isn't that bad, is it? Sure, it's a bit unusual to do an oratory final round, but wrong. Meanwhile, all the competitors are saying to themselves, well, at least I've still got a chance of winning the national championship.
Okay, what is his topic? Taking risks. What is he doing?
Taking risks.
Exactly. So he's not just preaching, he's doing it. And his audience is losing their mind. Okay.
The judges are thinking, is there a rule against this? Which, by the way, as far as I know, there isn't. Shelley Long? Ensign is.
That was a specific joke to a specific
And my coach
competitor.
is sitting in the audience saying, I had nothing to do with it. Folks, I'm simply trying to make a point, albeit a small one, but a point nevertheless. Of course, this really isn't that big of a deal, but even this tiny little symbolic risk has many people in this auditorium feeling quite uncomfortable.
Okay, it's a very, very tough skill. But how many of you would agree by raising your hand that Josh Gad is actually having a fun time performing? Right. He's not getting up there. I have literally seen kids like lumber up in front of the hi, my coach is making me do this, so here's my topic. You can tell they don't care. And they don't win. If you can't show me that you care, Josh Gad is the master of it, but he's showing us, he's having fun, he cares about his topic. Yeah.
What is the NFL?
That's a very fair question. So, on my poster back here, it says NSDA, National Speech and Debate Association. It used to, and sometimes is still called the National Forensics. I know it sounds like football league. And forensics was an old way of saying speech and debate. So they kind of changed it, but that's fine. Okay, here we go.
Who do I say?
Keep going, you're almost to your fourth piece. Almost there,
To
don't
be
give
honest,
up.
I was kind of tired anyway. Now, it is crucial to understand that there's a big difference between taking positive risks that enhance the well-being of one's life and taking risks that hurt others, and consequently ruin relationships and lives. So, I've compiled a short list of positive and negative risks that might enhance your judgment of what to do in certain situations. Let's see. Running frantically up to Pope John Paul II, yelling, "Give me that!" as you proceed to remove his hat and give him a knuckle nookie while screaming, "Who's your daddy, Pope, huh? Who's your dad?"
It keeps us on our toes.
Bad risk. Refusing to give your seat up on a bus, simply because of the color of your skin, knowing very well that you will be punished for doing so. Rosa Parks, that's a great risk.
Funny and serious, funny and serious.
Wearing lipstick and eyeshadow while dancing to Ricky Martin music, eating caviar and reciting Emily Dickinson poetry as his fiance shows up with the in-laws. Mark Albert, how many times do I have to tell you that it's a terrible risk?
Okay, now here comes the serious. We just did funny. Switch it up, switch it up.
Spending your meager life savings on a venture you believe in while everyone around you calls you and your idea a failure. I think Walt Disney would tell you that it's a wonderful risk. I hope you understand what I'm getting at. Risks should be taken with thoughtful determination and not be carelessly detrimental to you or your interpersonal relationships. Heed the advice of actor Dean Martin, who stated, "Don't be stupid. It just wouldn't be smart."
That was real research. He had to spend time finding that quote. Don't be stupid. It just wouldn't be smart of you. Right? Like, that's why I'm saying research in oratory does not have to be boring, okay?
So far, we have seen that taking chances can mean success in daily life. In some cases, however, taking a risk can save a life.
Okay, real story.
In 1945, at the end of the Second World War, legions of Jews who had been confined to concentration camps during the Holocaust were sent on death marches. The Jews would walk hundreds of miles without shoes and food until they met their untimely deaths. One such Jew, a 16-year-old girl by the name of Evelyn Greenblatt, walked that death march in the winter of 1945 through Czechoslovakia. Her foot was infected, her body sore, death seemed imminent. One day while marching with the others, Evelyn successfully escaped the highly guarded line and hid in the forest. Consequently, she also escaped the destiny of millions of other Jews and was eventually discovered by a squadron of American soldiers from whom she received liberation. Evelyn Greenblatt, my grandmother. Believe
Right? Again, another great example of when an anecdote, a personal story, even if it's not your personal story, how it really, like, that story usually gives me goosebumps. Even though I've literally seen this speech, like, probably 40 times, it gives me goosebumps every time.
herself enough to run away from the same people that had killed most of her family. To this day, Nana reminds me that she took that risk not only to save her own life, but primarily to prove that although the Nazis had killed most of her family, they could not kill all of her family. That although the Nazis had killed many of her people, they could not kill all of her people. Had she not taken this risk, I probably wouldn't be here today telling you her story or any other story. So I say, hoo-ah, Nana, hoo-ah.
So I would argue it's Josh Gad's only mistake. He made it seem like he's finished. He's not. So there's a tiny bit more. We're almost there. But that is just a very small performance flaw.
Okay, here's where I stop. Here's here's where I say, who are you? No more gimmicks, no more fancy articles, just me. You want a solution. In this case, as trite as it may sound, you are the solution. Each of us must make a decision to take a chance. Make a decision on the trivial issues of who to date, or what forensics to perform, or the more important issues of fighting prejudice, believing in your dreams, or simply running away. You have to be willing to say to yourself that yes, you can take a chance if it will better your life. Because remember, the solution of risk-taking is not in our taking the risk, it's in the opportunities that lie beyond it. The opportunities that may or may not exist, but that we certainly should never ignore. I recently came across an anonymously posted article on the internet entitled "Risk-Taking is Free" that epitomizes what taking risks is all about. The poem reads, "To love is to risk not loving in return. To live is to risk dying. To hope is to risk despair. To try is to risk failure. But the risk must be taken because the greatest hazard in life is to risk nothing. The person who risks nothing does nothing, has nothing, is nothing." So with those words in mind, I say to you, now that you have heard my speech, I hope to others you may teach to take a risk without regret, to laugh at fear with pride, not fret. If there's something you might believe in, don't go on dreaming, just take hold. And when you do, my friends, you'll find that risks might bring rewards in time. Hooah!
So, he started by singing, he ends with singing. The best speakers know that a really awesome beginning and a really awesome ending super matter. The stuff in the middle, like, that matters too, obviously. But you have to go out with a bang, because when you walk off that stage, your judge starts to forget everything you just said. So it has to make an impression. Just out of curiosity, and be honest, how many of you are like a little bit legitimately interested in oratory? And it's okay if not. You've got 3 other things we'll learn about. Great, cool. Everyone pick up your purple paper. Is your first and last name actually on it? Good, you're gonna turn it in, and then everyone gets 4 pieces of candy. Good job, seriously. So you're gonna have to kind of pick quick and then go. 4, 1, a little bit. Yep. So faster you can go, better. And this is not a just today thing. This will be tomorrow, Wednesday, and Friday.
I'm like
Jason's
getting coasting. Do you like my pencil holder?
I want a camera.
It's a weird pencil holder, but okay. I'd rather just have my phone. Oratory about dress code. About dress code.
We still have 4 minutes.
Wait. You gotta make sure you have enough information.
Cookies and cream.
Is there ever been like a speech on Hagen?
Hey, there's lots of kids behind you, so pick quick.
This
Smush to the
goes.
side.
My last year's speech, my helicopter parent one, was barely, like, it was 4.5 pages.
Oh yeah?
Now I'm already at 6.
Oh seriously? That's awesome though. You're making major progress. You'll have plenty of time to memorize, so that'd be nice.
Let's hope.
Okay, so you have 4.
Until Miss Nasser says she hates it. And
But
turn
remember,
over.
oratory speeches aren't an essay, so she thinks about it from English teacher perspective, when really, it's supposed to be oratory. Yeah, oh, sorry, I was thinking of her mom. Oh, let's throw that away, that's gross.
Miss
What?
Nasser.
Miss, not Mrs. You are correct.
Why did I can't have those, so I'm gonna take one.
It had a virus.
4.
You can't have one.
That is a very cool
Oh, I can have that. Yeah, I can have it.
John, you said you couldn't have it. Here,
Eddie. Okay, and
No,
Leon,
I
did
want
you
the
got,
other
yeah,
one.
you guys definitely do also.
John.
You.
child.
Are you happy with those options?
I'm very. No, not a Milky Way. Milky Way are kind of nice.
it up. I think that was everybody. Okay.
What?
The 1 minute bell should be ringing like right now. Or now.
Fernando.
Or now. Or now. Nice memory.
They belong to me and John. John. Do you have homework or now?
I was like really off. There we go.
I don't think I'm gonna do oratory. Do you have math? I don't care. Spelled it wrong and what did you spell wrong? Do you not like writing? Do you not like things? There's an all-pink Starburst package. Yeah, I know. Because pink's the best color. Yeah.
They're my husband's favorite.
Chug all these.
I do actually like to know Heads up, everybody. Late work will be finished by the end of today if you've been waiting for late work grades.
How does a tree?
JC, what type of data has a band? Dang it!
Wait, what?
What type of data has a band?
See ya. Have a good one. Sorry. Brian, where did you go that you are so ridiculously tan? Oh, okay. That makes a lot of sense. Lucky you. Yeah, you did. I'm sorry. But still, it's going to turn into an awesome tan. It already looks like it is. Oh, see ya.
Chase, I'm gonna follow you because you're the only person I know.
See ya. Is it? How are ya? Fantastic. I'm so happy you're in this class right now too. Why are you so happy though?
Because all my other classes are kind of a pain sometimes, so at the end of the day, I'm just like, I'm over it.
I do agree. I love ending the day with creative writing. I guess that would be great every day, but you know, we try.
We're all, we grabbed the same. Wait, Erlen, what was so funny was like, this is all like, one kid like, okay, Erlen, one kid rode up his shorts, like one boy, and he was like, hey, your shorts are too short. And then one kid, like, another boy put his shirt down, and he was like, hey, don't keep it. Wait, good, and it was like, Justice and I were like, avoid getting dress coded, what's her, like, university?
It's a clear sign at the end of the day.
What? I've never seen a boy.
When a boy gets dress coded, it's a sign that the teacher. I don't need an exercise.
Sorry, I felt like it. Here.
I mean, if there are girls who get dress coded that are wearing like.
I smell like slap from your
Otherwise,
face.
you kind of make the assumption.
Yeah.
Wait, I wonder, like, you know how, like, there used to be where, like, a man can get...
Oh, yeah.
So a boy does that just to prove that boys can get dress code. Like, and you know Vinny Casper?
Oh, yeah.
He says he's starting a Viagra.
Hello.
I've got we have the same kind of color shirt, we have the same clothes, we have the same kind of shoes.
She won't stop denying that she's not of this school. She keeps saying that she's not of this school. And like, she's like, well, how? Show me. I'm like, be a friendship bracelet. I'm like,
Naruto's fan club. Show that they are dead.
I'll punch you.
Sure you are. You're like 7 feet shorter than me.
My dad.
Go sit down. Go sit down.
Hey, Luke, Dad beat her up. Just like he beat Mom.
Okay, let's get settled in. I see lots of you picking up the yellow and the white here.
Afraid of frogs, even though there were no frogs there.